So close. Opportunities tonight for the Padres against really as good of a pitcher as there's been in Major League Baseball. Jurickson Profar goes deep. The Padres take an eighth-inning lead, but cannot hold it in the rain. The Cubs walk off and win 3-2. The series is even. We'll see if Dylan Cease can win the series tomorrow for the Padres. Make your way in. It is the wrap-up show presented by our friend Mark Nimitz at Farmers Insurance. John and Jim with you for the next hour or so, reacting to a game that was very winnable tonight in Chicago at Wrigley Field, with the Padres fall in walk-off fashion 3-2. So subscribe. We have year-round content for Padres fans, so we're here for you. Please subscribe. Smash the like button for us. You can follow us on X at John Schaefer, at Jim Russell SD. As you know, we get to all the super chats, so please consider a super chat by clicking the $sign below the chat box. We have brand new emojis for members, so click that join button down below. I mean, Jim, you consider the circumstances here. I mean, you get really good starting pitching from Vasquez. You find a way to take a lead in the eighth inning. Jurickson Profar remaining clutch for the Padres. It's 2-1, bottom eight, but the Padres allow a run in the eighth. They're walked off in the ninth, and they fall in game two tonight, 3-2.
Another low-scoring, close game that they can't win.
Yep.
I thought Vasquez pitched really well. They're not going to push it with him. Gave him exactly what they needed. 4 1/3, 1 earned run, which was just a home run by Bellinger. And then the biggest thing for him was no walks. So I thought Vasquez pitched really well. They know you have Dylan tomorrow, so you can kind of, push it a little bit with your bullpen, knowing that you're going to get or at least the feeling is you're going to get a minimum 6 innings tomorrow and maybe more.
Yep.
Right. So you're going to push it. Morahone has been good. I mean, there's runners all over the place, but he didn't allow any runs. He continues to look really good. And then we get to the Jurickson Profar moment of the game where he hits this, I don't even know how he got it out of the ballpark. It was.
I mean, that left by a good distance, didn't it?
Yeah,
in the end,
got some backspin on that thing.
Yeah.
And he continues to be absolutely amazing. I mean, John, he's hitting .338 with 6 home runs, 27 RBIs, and a .958 OPS.
27 RBIs in less than a fourth of the season. He's pacing for 108 RBIs.
I mean, this guy's right now the starting left fielder in the All-Star game for the National League. It's incredible.
He's been unbelievable. I mean, what I hate here real quick, Jim, is that you get that moment. You get the Vasquez, right, against as good of a pitcher as there's been in baseball this year, right? And you're basically matching him. You're trailing 1-0 most of the game. You get to Imanaga with the Profar, right? Gets him for a 2-run home run, and then you can't hold on. I mean, again, it's not like you had a 5-run lead, but it's 2-1, bottom 8. You give it up with Matsui with the leadoff walk, and then De Los Santos gets out of the eighth inning. Then he allows the first pitch home run walk-off in the bottom of the ninth inning. Now, I know you tweeted out hey, how much of this is on Mike Schilt? What are we doing differently?
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking of myself. I'm like, what do you guys want different? Because, I mean, you could have Jeremiah Estrada start the ninth inning, but if he gives up a run there, then you're going to be blaming Mike Schilt for not keeping in De Los Santos, and you're not putting in. Let me just end this right now. There is no way you're putting in Robert Suarez there in the ninth inning in a tie game on the road.
He just worked 5 outs yesterday.
You're not doing it. Okay. You might, if you get to the 10th, then probably, because you give your opportunity, you want to have an opportunity to score in the next half inning. So the 10th inning, I could argue if you're going to
with the lead,
even without a lead, you're kind of wondering to yourself, do we put him in here on the road without a lead? But you're not putting him in the ninth. End of discussion. It's not happening. 99% of managers in baseball do not put their closer in the bottom of the ninth inning on the road in a tie game. Doesn't happen. So I don't want to hear it tonight. The De Los Santos thing is interesting. And I don't know if you saw the tweet that I sent to Darnay, because I'm 100% going to steal it for this. This is an interesting note on De Los Santos, who's been pretty decent for the Padres this year. Actually, more than decent. I think he's been very reliable. He's a part of their A team, and he has gotten out some big moments. So on April 30th, this is from Darnay, our producer, which we pay nothing to.
Thank you, Darnay.
De Los Santos gets the last out of the 6th inning. He goes back in the dugout and sits, and then he starts the 7th inning. He gives up a home run to the first and third batters of the following inning. On Monday, De Los Santos gets the last out of the 6th inning. He sits, goes back out for the 7th, gives up a home run to the second batter. Tonight, De Los Santos gets the last out of the 8th inning, gives up a home run on the first pitch in the 9th inning. Those are the only home runs he's allowed in 2024, which is a pretty crazy stat. So if by that logic you want to use, like Mike Schultz should know that, so don't go and have him finish an inning and then start the next inning, because every time that's happened with De Los Santos this year, he's given up a home run. But then my next question is, where are you, like, who is the guy you're going to? Are you going to Jeremiah Estrada, an unproven rookie? Are you going to who else is in the bullpen? Are you going to Wandy Peralta there, who has been shaky of late? Like, what are you doing? You're not going to Suarez, and
I got no problem with it.
Your options are limited.
I got no problem with it. I really don't. And by the way, like, I'm looking at the tweet right now from Darnay. I mean, okay, I would tell you coming in coincidence. So it's happened 2 times. He's allowed a leadoff home run after getting out of an inning. So what are we saying? He's prone to giving up home runs after getting out of an inning? That doesn't make any sense.
Well, it's because
you're not expecting that to transpire. It's not like, hey, he gets out of innings, then he's got a propensity to give up home runs. Why?
Well, the theory is, oh, he gets out of the inning and then he goes and sits and cools down. Like, that's what relievers do, guys.
It's not as simple as that. Like, it's not as simple as that.
If you're a reliever, that's your fucking job.
I have no problem. Like, let me be clear here. When you lose with your reliable relievers, like, I hate to be the tip your cap guy, but sometimes you lose with reliable relievers. Wasn't it Schilt that said, was it Peralta he talked about, or De Los Santos when they lost in Colorado?
Peralta.
He said, listen, I trust Wandy Peralta with a lead in the 8th inning 10 out of 10 times. I don't disagree with him. You have to manage your bullpen. You've got 3 or 4 pitchers you're going to turn to in tie games, high leverage situations, or with a lead. And De Los Santos is one of those guys. Like, Wandy Peralta is one of those guys. Like, Robert, you can't turn to Robert Suarez every night. By the way, if you chase a game with Suarez in a tie game and you lose, he's clearly down the next day. Shoot, he might be down for 2 days. He just threw a 5-out save yesterday. So this was winnable. Make no mistake. And you're not just like saying, well, it is what it is. I mean, in a game like this against Imanaga, if you got a chance to win the game, I mean, it would have been a massive win. You heard what I said all day long. I mean, I would have been a full believer in this team, but I can't fault Mike Schilt for not being able to hold a 2-1 lead in the 8th inning. You turn to your reliable relievers and they coughed it up.
Like, I see Rich losing his mind in the chat. Like, this is the job of a reliever. You're not always going to get these clean innings. It's not always going to be perfect. You're going to have to come in with trouble and runners on the base path, and you're going to have to get out of those innings. Like, there's the inherited stat for a reason, inherited run stat for a reason, or whatever it is, right? And that's the job of a reliever, is to get out of innings when there's trouble. And it's not always going to be perfect. Now, if you want to make the case of like, well, just let Yuki finish the inning off. Okay, say that he leaves Yuki out there and he gives up a 2-run home run. Then guess what everyone's going to be doing? Why didn't you bring in De Los Santos? Like, there's both sides of the coin here, guys. They lost tonight, and they lost with their A-team bullpen out there. It's not like you had Johnny Brito in the 9th inning or Estrada in the 9th inning that gave up a home run. Then everyone would be losing their freaking minds, and everyone would be like, what the hell is Mike Schilt doing? He's trying to win the game, and he's putting his best guys in to make sure that happens. And I'm sure that he took out Yuki because guess what? There was a right-handed pitcher up in Dansby Swanson to end that inning. So do you want a left-handed pitcher in Yuki Matsui, who's a rookie, facing a veteran in Dansby Swanson? Or do you want De Los Santos, who is a righty and a damn good one, against a right-handed batter? That's what he went with.
And he got out of it. So what is our issue? Is it De Los Santos starts the 9th inning and the first pitch he throws in the pouring rain ends the game? But by the way, we don't know if that would have happened against Wandy Peralta, Robert Suarez. And by the way, I mean, the book would tell you this. And by the way, Mike Schilt knows the book. I mean, he's a lifer. He knows the book. I don't think he's getting out smarted necessarily in these spots. I mean, you're not turning to Robert Suarez there. Okay, you get a clean inning from Robert Suarez. Who pitches the 10th?
Exactly.
Now, again, would you prefer to get to the 10th inning? Of course. I mean, you got to get to the 10th inning to win the game. But like De Los Santos, even with the third of an inning and the home run today, has a 3. He came in with a sub-3 ERA. I have no issues going to a veteran, reliable reliever in a tie game and trusting him. You can't always go to Robert Suarez. It's not as simplistic as that.
And another point too, guys, it's a tie game. This thing could go a little longer, right? This thing could go 11, 12 innings, maybe. With the runner on second base rule and extra innings, these things usually don't go 16, 17 innings anymore, thankfully. But if you take a guy out after getting just 1 out on I think 2 pitches or 3 pitches, right? Say this thing goes 12 innings. You just burn one of your dudes by throwing 2 pitches. And now you're asking guys in the back end of your bullpen that you're not that comfortable with in close games to go out there and have shutdown innings.
Mm-hmm.
You need to have, when it's a tie game like this, you need guys to give you outs and innings. And I know Yuki Matsui only gave you 2 outs there, but Mike Schultz playing for the long game here and making sure that Dansby Swanson doesn't burn him. And then he liked the matchup with De Los Santos and against Dansby Swanson rather than Yuki Matsui against Dansby Swanson. There's a couple people on social media that
I hate to be the guy to be like, it's not that controversial. You know us. If I feel like there's an issue with it, then I'm going to tell you there's an issue with it. I'm Mr. in-game decision-making, Monday morning quarterbacking, and I can't really Monday morning quarterback it. What do you want him to do? The night before, the closer picked up a 5-out save.
Right.
So, and now I'm going to go back to him in a tie game. Hopefully get to a 10th inning, knowing that if I get to a bottom of the 10th inning, I no longer can go to Suarez. So he no longer is available for a save. If I can take a lead in the top of the 10th inning, it's very hard to be critical, in my opinion, of the usage of the bullpen, considering what transpired yesterday, and considering that their bullpen is, let's be honest, Jim, their bullpen, I think their 18 bullpen is good, not great. I think Suarez is great. Yeah. And I think the rest of their 18 bullpen is good. I don't think it's bad. I think it's better than fine. But I don't think it's spectacular. They're not going to be perfect on the road in 1-run games or tie games. They're not. And you can't turn to Robert Suarez every single night. I mean, they didn't even go to Josh Hader one time for a 5-out save. So now we're asking to go to Robert Suarez back-to-back days after picking up a 5-out save.
To have a 6-out at save?
It's not even realistic.
And I think this is the point that people are upset with, or this is what people are upset with, because I've been seeing a lot of it. And it's not to just pick on you, Chad. I'm just taking it out because I saw it. It's the Mike Schultz takes out the reliever with 2 outs in an inning.
But the opposite. But then people told me Bob Melvin was too late on the trigger.
Right, Sleepy Bob. So what is it? Are you want a guy to be left in there for the potential of that pitcher who may be a little bit wobbly to give up a run? Or do you want him to be uber aggressive and make sure that he has the matchup that he likes? What is it?
Let's get to some of these supers. Guys, if you're here, subscribe. Year-round content for Padres fans. Trying to get to 6,200 subscribers with your help. Subscribe, please. Year-round content for Padres fans. Hit the like button for us. We're trying to get to who knows how many likes. Follow us on X at John Schaefer at Jim Russell ST.
150 million.
Chats. Click the $sign below the chat box. Thank you for the memberships as well. Let's start with that one. Homie's Garage, longtime loyal viewer. He says, bullpen has to come through. They only needed 3 outs. Bobby fastballs can't do it all. There's your takeaway. Profar comes through. You're 6 outs away from a win. Not really 3 because they tied up in the 8th inning, but you're 6 outs away from a win and your bullpen didn't hold the lead. There is no circumstance in the world where you go to Robert Suarez in the 8th inning with a 2-1 lead. It makes no sense in the world. You need him for 162 games. You can't go 5-out save after 5-out save. And you turn to your A team, Yuki Matsui. He walks the leadoff man. Tying run scores. And then you go to De Los Santos and, he gives up the game winner in the bottom of the 9th inning. I don't know what else you can ask other than give your bullpen a lead and see if they can hold it. And tonight, unfortunately, they couldn't.
Yeah, again, I would definitely have a more aggressive reaction to Mike Schilt if I truly thought there was something better that he could have gone to instead.
You're like, what am I missing here?
But exactly, what are we? What honestly, what are we missing here? What's better than the players that are being put in these positions that don't come through? Because it's not if your answer is Robert Suarez, then wrong. It's not happening. Like, you already used Morahone? Okay, are you gonna put in Jeremiah Estrada in that situation? Are you gonna put in?
You feel more confident with Jeremiah Estrada than you do with De Los Santos?
Yeah, you can put Wandy Peralta in that situation. I mean, everyone's like, "Oh, I don't want to see Wandy Peralta in big moments anymore." I mean, like, I don't get.
I remember heading into this game. By the way, we got all these texts on our text line. We saw it on social media as well. Oh, they're punting on this game. Jose Zokar, Jackson Merrill's not in the lineup. Luis Ariz is sitting. No, that was strategy. Strategically, really good left-handed starting pitcher. Sit some guys that are better against righties than lefties. They led the game in the 8th inning and went to their 8-team bullpen and lost the game. They punted on nothing. They did everything in their power to win the game. It would have been a massive win. I could argue it would have been a very significant win. If they win tonight against, again, as good of a pitcher as there's been in baseball this year, could it catapult them? Absolutely. Could have put them in a position where they get back home and they face the Dodgers. They have some momentum. But the season isn't summarized in this one loss. They've proven. What are you laughing at?
Like the question is like, what do you want him to do? Right? Like, I want an answer. Like, what instead of De Los Santos finishing an inning and then starting the next inning, like, what do you want him to do instead?
I'm ready.
And I saw somebody reply, and I'm going to actually reply to this person because I know.
Yeah.
Well, just use a lower leverage guy and hope for the best.
What does that even mean?
What?
So use a worse reliever just because?
Right. Yeah. Let's just try a worse reliever because the guy that is a better reliever has given up a couple of home runs when he finishes an inning and then starts the next inning. Like, listen to yourself. Listen to yourself if that is your thought process. Let's just use a worse reliever and hope for the best instead of a better reliever who is, pitching well for us this season.
It's not as simple. Like Ben, thank you, by the way, for the super chat.
Thanks,
Ben's
Ben.
a loyal viewer and supporter, and I appreciate you, Ben. And he says there's been a noticeable lack of a finisher mentality in close games from the pen over the last 3 years, as shown in their inability to consistently provide shutdown innings immediately after scoring. I mean, I'd need to see more data, to be honest, to see how they do after scoring. Like, do they provide a shutdown inning after scoring? But I think maybe we're oversimplifying it a little bit tonight. Like, is it about their finisher mentality, or is it about the Cubs being pesky enough at home, now 13-5, and doing enough to get even and then putting a good swing on a ball? Like, is it the lack of finisher mentality, or is it a credit to the Cubs in that spot for coming through against pretty good back-end bullpen pitching? Or are both true? I mean, I'm not going to sit here and tell you the Padres have the best 7th, 8th, and 9th inning relievers. I think they have as good of a closer as there is in baseball right now in Robert Suarez. We could argue whether, you could upgrade over Yuki Matsui or Wandy Peralta or De Los Santos, but it kind of is what it is, isn't it?
It is what
it's May. This is what you have. I think they're good. I don't think it's perfect. And this is the group you're going to have to win with. And tonight, unfortunately, they didn't.
It is what it is. And it was a really good game from both sides. And the Padres had a chance to win a close 2-1 game, which they haven't done this year at all. Right. And
true.
When it's, not 3 or 4 outs to go in the game and it's 6, then it's going to be like, all right, can they get to at least 4 outs remaining with a lead?
Let's pretend like it's 4. Let's pretend like those are, because the run scored on a sac fly with 1 out, correct? Or was it with nobody out?
It was with nobody out.
Okay. So there's no circumstance in modern baseball where Robert Suarez would be on the mound. Do we all agree? He worked 5 outs yesterday. He's going to now work 6 outs. That makes no sense.
0%.
But I'll give you another hypothetical, Jim. Let's pretend like there's a runner at third and 2 outs, and you have a 2-1 lead in the bottom of the 8th inning. Guess who I'm not turning to?
What's it? Oh, say that again.
Suarez.
Say that again.
Let's say it's 2-1 Padres, 2 outs, bottom 8, runner at third.
Yeah.
Guess who I'm not turning to? Robert Suarez. Why? Because he worked 5 outs yesterday, and because the season doesn't end May 7th, and I have to ask others to do their job. He's
Correct.
not the only one that has a job. The rest of the bullpen has a job. Right. Now, is he available? I don't know. I haven't heard from Mike Schill postgame because I was driving. If he was available for the 9th inning. He wasn't available for a 4-out save after going 5 outs yesterday. That's not reasonable. That's not how modern baseball works. No closer is working 4-out save and 5-out save on back-to-back days in May, right?
Not happening.
It's not happening.
Not happening. And honestly, tomorrow you're probably saying, all right, you're only going to give us 3. Like, there's a long game here for sure. And they're going to pick their spots when they're going to use them. Yesterday, they used him for 5 outs. You want to know why? When's the last time you pitched, John? I think it was like 5 days.
Yeah, I think it was 5 days. Yep.
So guess what? You can deploy that strategy in that moment. You have a lead with 5 outs. Screw it. I'm going to Robbie Swarry, and we're going to win this game. Or at least I'm going to have my best guy out there to try to win this game. Back-to-back nights, 0 chance. 0% chance. 0.
None.
None.
Sorry. I mean,
it's not happening.
Again, if it's the NLDS, sure. Yeah, whatever. Everything.
I don't think people are like, I don't really think any Padres fans sitting there tonight being like, why didn't they go to Robert Suarez with 6 outs? Maybe like the delusional fan that thinks that these guys are machines and like.
So then what are we second guessing?
The usage of De Los Santos, which is in my mind kind of not worth it to discuss. You're right. It's crying over spilled milk. If your solution to how Mike Schultz should have managed this bullpen was use a lower leverage guy in a high leverage situation and hope for the best, you don't know baseball.
You're okay. Let's get to some supers here, guys. If you're here, subscribe here on Content for Padres fans. Smash the like button for us. Thank you for the supers. Click the $sign below the chat box, like Murray. Thank you, Murray. Appreciate you, man. He says there are at least 40 more losses coming. It's okay.
True.
If the Padres only lose 40, 45, 50 games from here on out, it's an amazing year because they've only lost 20. Yeah. So if they're only going to rack up 60 to 70 losses, then they're going to have an incredible year. It's not about the fact that you incur losses over the course of a year. Of course you do. Of course. I mean, a good series is taking 2 out of every 3, which means you lose a game. I would just say this, that when you've got Imanaga on the mound and you take a lead as late as you did, it feels like you had – I'm not going to say it's a wasted opportunity, but it's kind of a wasted opportunity. That's what we all thought. When he hits that home run and you see the reaction from the dugout and Profar, and he did it against Imanaga, to not be able to hold on to that lead feels like a wasted opportunity. Again, it's not going to define the season, but I would say this, like I said earlier today, if you win that game, what's it worth? It could have been worth more than one win. I think losing it, again, isn't going to define anything. I just felt like they were a win away against a really good pitcher from really making something out of the run that they're currently on. You get a rise, you're winning on the road, and it just feels like they had it and they lost it, and we'll see if they can get it back tomorrow with Dylan Cease on the mound.
This is where I'm with tonight. This is for me the entire story of
he walked the
8th inning on.
The 8th inning.
You can't walk the leadoff man. You can't. That is death. Okay, especially when you're on the road against a good baseball team who's one of the best baseball teams at home this year. You walk that first guy. The second that happened, I thought to myself, that guy's going to score. And then immediately it's 1st and 3rd, no outs, and you're like, all right, now you're just trying to make sure you stay tied going into the 9th inning. Because that guy was going to score no matter what, it felt like, unless you got some miracle play. Right. Strikeout, double play. Like, it's not unheard of, but Yuki hasn't been sharp as of late. So once that happens, what's Schilt doing? He is trying to play right now to preserve the tie. And once he does that, he makes sure he gets out of that inning with a tie. Okay. That's his only goal in that spot. get to the 9th tied. I don't care how we get there, but we're getting to the 9th tied. If I got to use 3 different pitchers to get out of this freaking inning tied, I'm using 3 different pitchers. That's his number 1 goal in the 8th inning. Now, once you get to the 9th inning and you don't score, now you're playing kind of the long game a little bit, right? Okay, we got to get to the 10th. So De Los Santos only threw 3 pitches here, so I need to get a little bit of length out of him, and I need to get at least 1 more inning. That's what you do.
Hold on. Hot Talent Lava, what are we talking about? You got 4 1/3 sparkling innings on the road from Randy Vasquez. You want more than that?
Oh, boy.
Sometimes you need to know when you've gotten all you can. You start reaching in the big leagues and asking Randy Vasquez to do more than he did, and you trail 5-0. And this was the criticism of Bob Melvin. You leave him on for an extra 2 batters or 3 batters, and 1 or 2 of those men come around to score. And then what are we saying about the game? You're out of it against Imanaga. The difference in trailing in this game 1-0 or 3-0 was the game.
Mm-hmm.
You squeezed everything out of Randy Vasquez. Nobody came into this game thinking, let me get 6 scoreless from Randy Vasquez. We all would have signed up for 4 1/3 innings of 1-run baseball. And the bullpen, again, kept you in the game. You took a 2-1 lead. You had your A-team, quote unquote, on the mound, and you lost the game. But this wasn't because of a quick trigger from Schilt in the 5th inning. Who thought in the 5th inning, man, I wish he stuck with Randy Vasquez.
No one's saying that unless the hindsight's a great Hot Talent Lava. Hindsight's amazing. It is.
I mean, how many pitches did Vasquez throw tonight?
83.
Perfect.
Now, he did have his first start of the year versus the Blue Jays, where he went 5 innings, 97 pitches. He gave up 1 earned, but he gave up a total of 4 runs because I think there might have been an error in there, obviously.
But the point is, don't you feel like you maximize his start, and asking for more may have been asking for too much?
Yeah.
That's how I felt. We were in the office, in the studio at that time. I felt like they got everything out of him. He gave up 5 hits in 4 1/3 innings. He only allowed 1 run on the Bellinger home run.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not like he was working on a no-hitter or the batter before had homered, and all of a sudden it's a quick hook. That's not the circumstance that played out. I think if you would have told Mike Schilt heading into the game, hey, Randy Vasquez is going to keep you in the game, it's going to be a 1-run game, and then you got to trust your bullpen, he would have taken that challenge and ran with it. Unfortunately, tonight, it didn't work out, despite the fact that they took a lead after Vasquez was out of the game. Let's get to the super here from Ben. Thank you, Ben, again.
Thanks, Ben.
He says, in the last 8 games, it's happened 10 times where the offense scores in the next half inning, their opponent immediately scored.
Well, that's a bullpen issue. That's not on Mike. Are you going to blame Mike Schilt for that too? I mean, it's the same thing that happened with Bob Melvin. I was saying kind of like the same thing. Are we going to blame Bob Melvin or are we going to blame the players on this one?
Right.
You know, we're going to blame the players for giving up these runs. We're going to blame the players for not hitting. I mean, the manager, unless it's a Jace Tingler egregious move where it's like an oh my god moment, like what we had with Jace Tingler.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and we can argue like, hey, kept the guy in too long, but more often than not, John, would you agree that it's like he puts the guys out there and the players got to perform, and you can't walk the first guy the freaking inning if you're Yuki Matsui.
Playing with fire,
man, and you can't yank him because you need to face at least 3 batters. And why would you anyway? I mean, well, maybe you would, but the 3-batter rule changes that.
100%. Thank you, Murray, who says, and Sugar got totally robbed in the 9th for the lead. He did. That was a very good rangy, like that was a really good play, I thought. Now, the ball wasn't leaving the yard, right, in that spot.
Mm-hmm.
But that was a very good play in general in left center field in the top of the 9th. I thought off the bat maybe it was gone. I think he probably thought the same thing. But what does Manny say? That's baseball.
That's baseball.
You know, I mean, that's a fair point. I mean, it was a good play. I mean, the Cubs are a good team. I think the Padres are a good team. But
this would be a pretty good postseason series. We won't get it. Well, we might get it depending on how they play and if they get like the. Well, no, they wouldn't play.
No, they could 3-6 or 4-5. It's a possibility.
Yeah, potentially. This would be kind of a pretty good postseason series.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, this is one of those games that, again, I'm not up in arms about it, but I do have that feeling in my head of wasted opportunity. But but
No.
I don't then turn to a wasted opportunity because, like, if anything, it's because, okay, so Matsui walked the leadoff man in the 8th inning. I can't blame a leadoff home run in the 9th inning on De Los Santos. Like, what am I supposed to? Oh my gosh, he gave up a leadoff home run. What are we going to do now?
Here's a moment that we haven't even talked about.
Okay.
All right. This moment to me is bigger than De Los Santos giving up a home run in the 9th inning, a tie game.
Yeah.
All right. 6th inning, John.
Mm-hmm.
They've been getting shoved against
Oh,
all
the
games.
Machado second chance?
You have runners. You get kind of gifted some runners on the base pass.
First and second one out.
First and second one out. Manny pops it up.
Yep. Pure gift.
It just I don't know what the hell happened because I was listening on the radio.
Neither do I.
But the ball gets dropped.
Yep.
All right. It was described as a not top 10 moment.
Yep.
And you have an opportunity to come through in a big moment versus one of the best pitchers in the game. What happens? Strikeout. Manny, Bogarts, both strike out. They don't come through. That is, if you want to look at this whole game, that's a moment in the game that you had your superstars up, the guys getting paid the most money to come through. All right. They've been carried by the others this year. And you strike out in back-to-back appearances with runners in scoring position to tie the game up. That should be talked about more.
100%. And beyond that point, Jim, and you're spot on. I'm glad you mentioned it. Beyond that, 4 and 5 in your lineup, Machado and Bogarts.
The guys you want up.
Ks. What's that?
The guys you want up in that situation.
Yep. 0 for 4, 3 Ks for Machado. His OPS is under 700 now. 0 for 4 and a K for Bogarts, who has a 574 OPS. It is one of the great wonders in the history of the world that the Padres have gotten this little production from those two and are one game under 500.
It really is. To play pretty good baseball at times. They've looked like shit, but they've also looked really good. And you've gotten virtually nothing besides a couple moments here and there from Manny and Xander. And they're in the middle of your lineup.
I'm so glad you mentioned that. And again, it's one plate appearance. It's one at bat. You're not going to define a season on it. No. How you can be gifted a second opportunity in that spot, you're just thinking he's got to come through here, right? Everyone's thinking the same thing. He's given a second opportunity, one out in the inning. Imanaga's on the ropes.
Mm-hmm.
You get a second chance with only one strike on you.
Yeah.
And again, Imanaga's been unbelievable. Sub 1 ERA. I don't know if it still is or not. Is it still sub 1? I think it is. 1.08. And he still is able to get out of the spot. I mean, it's like you're gifted an extra out. You were gifted an extra out with your best hitter, theoretically, at the plate. And he essentially makes 2 outs in the spot, pop out and a strikeout. And you're right. It's like you could have won the game there with a big hit. Machado doubles, you score 2 runs, you take a 3-0 lead or whatever it would have been at the time. No, you would have taken a 2-1 lead or whatever. And you might find a way to win the game. But it's a really good point. It's like you've got Tatis, Machado, Bogarts, who haven't produced. Tatis was very good tonight, had the flare single, had a couple of hits. His OPS is fine, 784. It's good. It's not great, but it's good. But I mean, truth be told, Jim, they've gotten
better.
Yeah, they just haven't gotten anything what you would think they would get out of Fernando Tatis Jr., Manny Machado, and Xander Bogaerts. You're a quarter of the way through the season after tomorrow, 40 games.
For Ha-Seong Kim, it's an amazing OPS to have Tatis's OPS at 784.
Sure.
I mean, if you're Ha-Seong Kim and you end the season with a 784 OPS, great season for you. If you end the season in your Fernando Tatis Jr. and you end the season with the 784 OPS, that's a down year and a bad year for you. Sorry, it is. You can't, you got to be better than that. You need to up that OPS by at least 100 points. Sorry, you're a 900 OPS guy. You cannot be in the 700s. You can't have it. Same thing with Manny. He's not a 900 OPS guy. I'll give him that. But you got to be in the 800s. If you're Manny, you have to be in the 800s in the OPS category. And Bogarts, he'll never be a 900 OPS guy. Maybe he'll never be a 800 OPS guy again. But at least you got to be in the high 700 OPS. You have to be. None of this 700, 600, 500 OPS shit.
I agree. I mean, chat says every time they lose, Manny gets murdered in the chat. Complete crickets about Machado when they win. I mean,
No.
I don't know, Chad. I mean, like I always say, heavy's the head that wears the crown. I mean, he hasn't produced this year. It's not an abject, complete and utter failure. Like this isn't some 160 start, like or a Bogarts OPS where it's just like, oh my gosh, like complete wheels have fallen off. But it's back-to-back years. You're like, let's go, Manny. Your start is slow. You're the leader. You're in the middle of the lineup. And I understand what you're saying. Maybe we put a lot of the onus on Manny Machado, but shouldn't the onus be on Manny Machado? It's
I
what,
praise the
sixth year here?
Remember that Tuesday night game versus the Reds when they were losing, when they were on the midst of a 5-game losing streak and it was not looking good and Manny got the opportunity with the bases loaded. All I was doing was praising Manny on this show. And I think everybody was praising Manny for coming up in a big moment.
He says he's talking chat. I understand that. I mean,
I know.
Well,
that's
hard.
The fans, but like
it's like, guys, I mean, Jim, I'll give you the example. It's like what's an NBA star? I mean, if you don't win in the NBA, but you're a star, everything falls on you. If you don't win in the NFL and you're a star and you're the quarterback, everything falls on you. That's just
if the Celtics don't win the NBA Finals this year, guess who's getting blamed? Jason Tatum.
That's the thing.
When the
and I'm sure he's a great player, and he's probably had a great year.
Yeah, when the Mavericks don't get past the Thunder here, guess who's everyone's gonna blame Luka.
Yeah,
it's that's how it works. It's like in
Is
baseball,
it fair? I'm not saying it's fair. It might not be fair.
It's not. It's probably not fair, right? Because baseball is such a different sport where you can
man, he could have 2 hits tonight. They could lose. He could have 2 hits inconsequential.
He could have had 2 home runs tonight, and they still could have lost 3-2. Well, take away Profar in theory, right?
Yeah.
They scored 2 runs. I've said the Padres scored 2 runs tonight, and both those are from a Manny Machado solo home runs. I'd be like, okay, great. But it's the
Ohtani Angels tenure. Ohtani is the first player ever to go 4 for 5 with 5 RBIs as the Angels lose 10-6. I mean,
but with how the rest of the lineup is performing, when you're in those moments, those are the moments that count the most, and you got to come through. And Manny has not come through a lot this year. There's been a couple moments for sure, right? He's had moments.
Yep.
But you got to have more of those moments. And they just have to, you just have to be better. You can't, in a game tonight, John, where you're facing arguably the best pitcher in the game right now. I'm not saying he's the best pitcher in baseball. I'm just saying the way he's pitching, you could argue he's pitching the best out of anybody in baseball. And you are a superstar player, Manny. You got the $350 million contract. Okay. You're in a moment where you have a runner on second with 1 out. You're gifted another opportunity after you pop out and they drop it. And you go over 4 with 3 strikeouts tonight, and you strike out in that moment. Like, if everybody wants to blame De Los Santos in the managing of the bullpen and all that shit, but came down to that 6th inning, guys. It really did. And I know Profar had that 2-run home run, so it kind of made up for it a little bit in the later half of the game. But what if Manny gets that base hit there, hits one in the gap? Maybe they take a Maga out sooner. Maybe they go to their bullpen and guys they don't want to use that you didn't see tonight. Maybe they have a bigger inning because they have big innings all year long, right? Like maybe they have a 4-run inning because they get a Maga out of the game because they grinded it out and they came through in the big moment. Instead, they both struck out, him and Xander.
Well, I want to get to the super from running back, and then we need to say about Mark Nimitz, our title sponsor. I'm not sure if I understand the super running back, and you can comment in the chat. He says King, Waldron, and Darvish versus Glasnow, Paxton, and first of all, it doesn't match up like that. Are we talking about this weekend?
Yeah, this weekend.
Okay. I don't know. Bueller's back. I don't know if he's in turn there or not.
Shit.
He went 4 innings, I think, yesterday or the day before. So you tell me if it lines up or not. I don't know the answer to that. It's a very good question. What's that?
I should go on Underdog Fantasy, and we'll get to them later.
Okay.
And every single game that they play the Padres, I need to do higher for everything for Ohtani, because every time that I bet on Ohtani in Underdog Fantasy, he always lets me down. Always. And the following day, he'll do exactly what I needed him to do. So I think I'm just going to bet on him all weekend long So then he just, goes over in the
Does
series,
nothing.
does nothing. Just
All
complete
right. So
jinx.
a reminder at Underdog Fantasy, if you use promo code PODSWRAP, PADSWRAP, you're getting that 100% deposit match up to $100. You don't have to deposit $100. You can deposit $10. They'll match it, and you get a free $10. And the pick'ems are awesome. We're playing every day, every single day. You have Dylan Cease tomorrow on the mound for the Padres, so why not play some Cease pick'ems in a Padres Cubs game? What do I like here? I mean, Cease has been so good. So, what interesting plays here. I'm just looking at Cease. I mean, dare I get cute and say higher than 1.5 strikeouts in the first inning? That's a little cute.
That's very cute.
That's very cute. And you can pair that. Let me pair that with, higher than 1.5 total bases for Luis Arias. Sure, why not?
Sure.
There's no Cubs up as of yet.
Give me an Ohtani higher than something because
Okay.
he'll do. They're playing the Marlins.
Okay. All right.
And I know, guys, sorry, it's screw the Dodgers, but like money's important here.
Let's go with higher than 1.5 total bases against the Marlins.
Do it.
And now all of a sudden we go 3 for 3 and 10 pays 78.70.
That's a perfect John play right there.
That's my play. Now, Jim would try to get cute and try to couple this with like a
Mookie or like a go to NBA. Give me an NBA game.
Yeah, you would try to add in like a Tyrese Halliburton higher than 16.5 points.
No, go Brunson. Give me a Brunson. What does he got?
I'm not going higher than 37.5 points, even though he scored 40 in 4 straight. Are you? I'll go higher than 8.5 first quarter points.
Hell yeah.
He had 14 last game. So all of a sudden, $10 pays 131. So, guys, this is how easy and simple and fun it is. You can win up to 100 times your money in a single night. Use promo code PODSWRAP. Scan that QR code or click the link in the description down below, and you can play and join us on Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code PODSWRAP. All right, back to Ben. Thank you, Ben.
Thanks, Ben.
He says it's not on shield. Managers look to their pitching coaches about who is ready and available coming out of the pen. It's an organizational trend. 2023, 9-23 in one-run games. 2024 so far, 3-5 in one-run games. So I don't know. I really don't. So it's Niebla. Last year they were historically bad in one-run games, but I'm not comparing 2024 right now to 2023.
How about this, John?
Okay.
Crazy theory. Crazy idea, too. Mostly an idea, not a theory.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy idea. Get better players to give to the manager in your bullpen.
I like it. I mean, I think they're fine. I mean, I think their bullpen's good.
They're
Is
fine.
that going too far? I mean, I think it's good enough.
Good. I thought, I mean, at one point I was like, oh, I guess me saying they're going to be a top 5 bullpen. I thought they had a bunch of arms that I mean, you look at it now and it's kind of not as good as you hoped. Everybody but Suarez. I mean, I think Morahone has pitched really well. Yuki has kind of been up and down of late, kind of shaky. De Los Santos has been really good, but then when he sits down, all the adrenaline goes away, and the next inning kind of just screwed him. Only Peralta has had that blew up in Colorado and ballooned his ERA. Tom Cosgrove is down in the minors right now. Jeremiah Estrada hasn't really been given that much of an opportunity. Johnny Brito, you're only seeing him to be the piggyback guy. And then Vasquez is a starter for you. So,
well, Suarez is clearly the best. I mean, Suarez is carrying the bullpen because he's the best player in the bullpen. Yeah. I mean, that's not arguable, but
you're only using Kolek in games when you're trailing.
They used him tonight with a lead, right?
Stephen Kolek, no. I don't think they did.
Unless they did.
Missed something here. Did they really?
Or did they use him down 1-0?
They used him down
1-0.
Yeah.
Yep.
So again, they're trailing. They used Kolek.
You're right. I mean, I don't think it's a bad thing that Suarez is carrying the bullpen. I mean, your closer's 11 for 11 at save opportunities with a sub-1 ERA. That's a good thing, isn't it?
Yeah. So
that's what I would say. So,
and at the trade deadline, go out and get another good reliever. Great, because you don't have to worry about your closer, right? So go out and get another reliever. to give to Mike Schilt. So then you can all yell at him after he uses them after 2 outs in an inning and then starts the second inning.
Right. Murray, thank you, man. Appreciate the supers. Guys, if you're here, please subscribe here on Content for Padres fans. Hit the like button for us. We appreciate the super chats. You can click the $ below the chat box. Thank you for the memberships. You can click join down below, get the new emojis. Murray, thank you again. He says, I have only one criticism of my Padres this year, and that is winning at home. We have to be better in home games, but that is it. Well, it's a pretty big criticism. I mean, it's half their games will be played at home. They've been much better on the road, as we know. Last year, they eventually got going at home. They finished over 500 at home, but it is a bit of a concerning trend, playing in front of 40,000 people and not consistently winning. And we'll see if that changes this weekend against the Dodgers or not.
Yeah, you gotta be better at home. You have to be better at home. You know, they're a good road. They're a decent road team. And truthfully, when you end the year, if you're 500 on the road, that's considered good. You know, you got to take care of business at home. You go 41-41 on the road. That's great. I would take that every day. Right?
Yeah, because then you go 45-36 at home. Very reasonable. You have 86 wins.
Boom. There you go. But now you're putting pressure. You got to be better on the road because you suck at home. And that's a hard ask. Hey, go be a better road team than a home team. What?
Or a hoe team.
And a hoe team. Mostly a hoe team.
Hold on. Isaiah, thank you. Thanks for all you guys do. I love hearing your thoughts and insight about the games. Thank you, Isaiah.
Thank you, Isaiah.
Appreciate you, my friend. Thank you guys for hanging out. Please subscribe. Retod, thank you, man.
Thank
Good
you,
to have you in
Retod.
here as always. He says, I'll just say what we're all thinking. Could have really used Ryan Weathers tonight. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Listen, if you told me Imanaga, Vasquez, 8th inning lead, I don't care about anything else. I don't care how long Vasquez was in the game. I don't care what Imanaga's line is. I don't care if Bogarts is 0 for 4. I don't care if Machado's 0 for 4 if you win. And they didn't. And they were, 5-6 outs away. But that's not good enough, obviously. And it's like you're not satisfied with it. Like, hey, we're playing well against good teams. We're close. You're not satisfied with it. That's not the point at all. But I don't think there's some big major gaffe in this game. You're playing a good team on the road that took advantage of. They opened the door with something given to them. Yuki Matsui's leadoff walk in the 8th inning. Yeah. That's what they took advantage of, and that's what good teams should take advantage of. And that's what the Cubs did here tonight. So it's more on Matsui. And again, that happens. It's not personal. He's not going to be perfect. It's more on Matsui. And then you could say, like you said, go back to the 6th inning. They had chances, Machado and Bogarts. They didn't capitalize. So you don't capitalize. They do. And that's the difference between winning and losing.
Yeah, there was no egregious move in this game.
Not egregious, no.
There's no Mike Schilt, what the fuck are you doing move.
Yep.
Okay, none of that. This was solely, as you said, John, this was on the players tonight. Yuki Matsui cannot walk the leadoff hitter in the 8th inning. Can't happen. It's doom every single time. Manny and Bogarts in the 6th inning, when you have an opportunity to get a run home with a runner in scoring position for the first time all night long against one of the best pitchers in the game right now, you got to come through. Instead, they both struck out. That's the game. And you got really good pitching otherwise from the Padres. So, and the Cubs are also one of the best home teams in baseball. So it's like anybody out there that's like blaming this one on Mike Schilt, I think you just, you're just looking at someone to blame other than the players. And I just don't understand that.
I agree with you. Richard, thank you, man. Appreciate you. He's a Dodger fan, but he is a supporter of the channel. He says, this fall, I'll be celebrating 25 years of marriage. Congratulations.
Nice.
Jim, may the Lord bless both of you with long, happy, and healthy lives together. God bless. Clap emojis.
Thank you, Richard. Even though you're a Dodger fan, thank you for watching and thank you for
25 years, 25
the kind
days.
Words, man. Appreciate it. 24 days.
25. No,
25 days. 25 days.
You and Aaron are made for each other, right?
Yes, we are. Yeah.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Hold on, let me get to Mark Nimitz because We should have gotten to him way earlier. Thank you, Mark. I mean, Mark's been with us since day one, folks. We've been doing this for 3 years on YouTube, and we can't do this without you. And we can't do this without Mark Nimitz. Simple as that. Whatever your insurance needs are, he's going to save you time and money. He just will. You can trust me because he saved me time and money. I've got a life insurance policy. I have a homeowner's insurance policy. I have an earthquake insurance policy through Mark. He can save you so much money just by switching. And then in addition to money, he can save you time. He's a great insurance agent. I had to file a claim a couple of years ago. He saved us so much time and so much money. So click the link in the description down below, get to his website, get free quotes, or call him. He'll talk to you about the Padres and also give you a free quote for your insurance, whatever it is. I don't have auto. He does auto, renters, life, condo, business, whatever you need. And then before you renew, make sure to call Mark because he can save you $750 or more. So if you support our work, if you support this channel, make sure to check out Mark Nimitz at Farmers Insurance, the title sponsor of the wrap-up show.
Yeah, all his information is on the ticker below, mnimitz@farmersagent.com. When you reach out to our buddy Mark, let him know that John and Jim from the wrap-up show sent you. Sorry.
I agree with this, by the way. You're trailing 1-0 in the 7th inning, and Azokar tried to get cute. There was that throw that got away, and it was backed up immediately, and then it was caught like in no man's land, like 40 feet between first and second in a run down to end the inning. You're trailing by a run. You can't give up an out. So, like, here's the difference here. Like you said, Machado, Bogarts don't come through. Azokar gives up an out.
Yeah.
Matsui, leadoff base runner. Cardinal sin. The cardinal sin.
Walk.
Yeah, like, I'm not saying the Cubs deserve to win or the Padres deserve to lose, but you play this thing out, and I'm not overly surprised that a good team found a way to win at home when you consider all the circumstances that went into it.
And Omar makes a good point. I didn't even think of it. I think I was getting. I might have missed this on the radio. So I was driving home. I had to do some errands before I got home, but the 8th inning after Profar's home run. After that, you have a pitching change. Okay, you get into their bullpen.
That's correct.
Toddy gets on with a single. Cronenworth pops out, but then Tatis steals second.
Yep.
Runners in scoring position with 1 out.
Again for Machado and Bogarts.
Again, and they both don't come through. So not just one instance in the game, which was big, but another where you finally have gotten in their bullpen. Thank God for Jurickson Profar, right? You knocked out Imanaga.
Amazing.
You don't even need like a gapper. Like, you just need a little soft base hit, and Tatis is going to score. And you can't come through. Both of those guys once again. It's the game, guys. It's sometimes it's very simple. Are your stars going to perform or are they not? And if they're not going to perform in the big moments, then you aren't going to win. And that's why they're in the middle of the lineup. To be in the 8th inning, the 6th inning, the 9th inning, runner in scoring position, less than 2 outs. Hell, runner in scoring position, 2 outs. You got to come through. And I'm not saying they have to come through at 100% clip, but
of course not.
But I mean, they're not coming through even close to like a 30% clip.
No, they're not. Machado, by the way, hitting 250 on the year, hitting 250 with men in scoring position. I just looked it up, but no, you're right. I mean, multiple opportunities. Again, that's why I would say what I just said. Like, you don't like not winning, but you look back in the game and you're like, well, it kind of makes sense. You didn't capitalize on opportunities, and they kind of did. I mean, let's give them credit. They hit a walk-off home run. They capitalized on a leadoff walk in the 8th inning. I mean, it's not, let's be fair.
First pitch in the 9th inning.
Yeah, I mean, let's be fair. Did the Padres do as much as the Cubs did there late? Not really. They got the Profar moment, but then the Cubs took advantage of 2 things, the leadoff walk and then the home run there in the 9th to win it. Retod, thank you. He says, how much more confident is everybody going into extra innings than last year? I mean, more confident than them going winless. Whatever they were to start the year, 0-12 maybe at one point. Worst record in baseball history at one point. So more confident than that. I don't have a big issue with them in 1-run games. Someone mentioned it. They're 3-5. Okay. Not the end of the world. They were horrific a year ago. I don't. Do you feel a trend in 1-run games? I don't. I like Robert Suarez. I think they can win 1-run games. Hopefully more often than they lose them.
they don't really have many one-run games.
Yeah, 8 out of 40, 20% of your games are one-run games.
I mean, a lot of their wins are like 6-3, 7-4, like 7-2, 5-1. Like, like they're not winning games 3-2, 2-1.
Right.
They're winning games 4-1, 5-2, 6-4. Like, they're not winning many 3-2 games. And Machado over his last 15 games, he's hitting 233 with a 317 slugging percentage. His on base is at 258. Like, I mean, give me a break here. What are we doing?
He just cannot. Like, he's like a classic example of like the car starts, but it doesn't, but then it doesn't start the next time.
And I thought
He'll
he was
hit a
getting
ball
hot.
at right center field and it's caught by the center fielder.
Like, I thought he was getting hot. Like the last 2 games of the Red Series, I'm like, okay, here we go. Here we go.
I agree.
And then the first game in Arizona, he has that home run, the line drive home run, right? And you're like, let's go. And then it just turns out that most of the like start of the engine was like, vroom, 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 vroom. It wasn't like, vroom, 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 vroom. It was just a very soft, like, the car makes a little bit of a noise. It's not, it's not loud at all. And I mean, I just hope we don't look up in a month and it's like the same story, the same thing is happening here.
Like, let's just say how it is. I mean, if they miss out, as we are, I mean, and there's so much baseball to be played, 123 games. If we get to the end of this road and they miss the postseason, we're not talking about Yuki Matsui's leadoff walks. We're talking about Manny Machado hitting 250 or, having a OPS of 730, not 830. Like we're not going to talk about Wandy Peralta or De Los Santos. We're going to talk about Xander Bogaerts with his, I'm making up, 695 OPS, where it's got to be 795. Like, that's what we're going to talk about. Or Fernando Tatis Jr.
Shit, if he has a 695 OPS, that means he does pretty well the remainder of the year.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what we're going to be discussing, whether it's right or wrong. That's what we're going to be discussing. JD's third, thank you. Plus, we're going to be discussing AJ Peller's future at that point. And again, we're a long way from there. They have shown real fight. They have been good enough. Not great. They're under 500 right now, but they've been good enough. You have Dylan Cease tomorrow. You're a favorite in Chicago tomorrow. Yeah. The Padres are. If you win the game as a favorite, you're 20-20 coming home. And there's a lot worse places you can be than 20-20 coming home. JD's third, thank you, says 1 billion equals Manny, Xander, Fernando. We know. It's big money.
I mean, I don't know how many ways we can say they have not been good enough. Like, you want me to speak a different language and tell you they haven't been good enough in a different language?
In, Spanish.
Like, they haven't been good enough. There's a reason why they're 19-20. I bet you, I would bet you so much money, John, if you were getting an all-star, if you were getting the same production that Jurickson Profar is giving you from Manny Machado, this team would have 2 or 3 more wins. Like, if you said right now
1 or 2,
1 or 2, I'd bet you I'd bet you they'd be over 500.
Well, 1 win every 40 games is 4 wins. That's a ton.
Yeah. I mean, if you tell me right now, if you said, hey, Manny's hitting 344 with 30 RBIs on the year,
he's got 920,
and like a 910 OPS, it'd be like, and then
everyone else 2 more wins.
Yeah, and everyone else is doing the exact same stuff, right? Everyone has the exact same numbers they have right now. Bogart's sucking. Tatis doesn't have much
being
average, right? But then you give those stats to Machado, guarantee you they have more wins. And they probably get off to a similar-ish, emphasize the ish, start that they got off in 2022 and 2021. Maybe not to that level, because those were really good starts, right? And it carried them, and then until they fell off a cliff in 2021, but they managed to get into 89 wins. But, starting the year off good is important when your margin for error is very slim. And that's why we're criticizing Machado as much as we are, because like he's so important to this team. So important.
I mean, crucial, obviously. Could be the difference between, getting to where you hope to go and not, obviously. That's why he's getting paid the way he's getting paid. Yeah. Thank you for this very generous super SJL Stevens. We appreciate you. Really appreciate you guys. Click the $ below the chat box. We'll get your supers if you want to weigh in here. And we appreciate this SJL Stevens. Very generous. He says, I feel like we're so close to breaking out. Never felt that way after April in 2023. I feel the same way. And that's why I was so hell-bent on saying that if they can win this game, I said it today on John and Jim,
all in.
I'm all in. But they
so
did.
What are you now?
I'm optimistic. I'm still optimistic. I like this group. I do. I'm not convinced. Like tonight would have been a convincing one for me. Man, they found a way against Imanaga with Profar. This team's got it. Last year's team didn't. That's what I would have said if
and
they
there
win
would
this
have been-
game. I still have to be convinced that this team has it. They got something. They have more than they had a year ago, even though they're 19-20. By the way, same record through 39 games as they had a year ago. But I'm with SJL Stevens, where it's like it feels like they're not far away from going 8-3 over 11 games.
Well, you know how they're not far away from doing that is exactly what we were talking about. The stars actually performing and showing up. That's how close they are.
Mm-hmm.
And it's easy to say, but it feels kind of difficult to actually see happen. It's a very like easy thing to ask. Like, hey, Manny, just be better.
Sure,
right?
be
Like,
better.
hey, Xander, don't suck. Hey, Tatis, be better than average, right? Like you're getting paid to do it. So be better than that. So easy to say that. And if those things happen, yeah, SJL Stevens, it feels like that's the close part to me from this team kind of having a little bit of a breakout and maybe like a 30-game stretch where they go, 20-10. I don't know. It's dependent on those three guys stepping up, because if they don't step up, this will be a team that will stay around 500 all year long.
Well, it's definitely a possibility. I mean, there's no question. I'm not convinced as we sit here today that they will be much better than 500, but I'm also not convinced they're not capable of being good. I agree with you. I don't see them being good without the stars producing. I also don't see them being good without, reliability and health from Joe Musgrove.
Yeah.
There's so many questions. The Michael Kings and the Matt Waldrons and the Randy Vasquezes. There's questions, but they've kind of overcome some of those questions to be relatively good enough. I know they're a game under 500. I understand it. They're not good. They're kind of good enough is what I would say at this point in the season. All right. Do want to remind you about our sponsor, longtime sponsor on the wrap-up show, our friends over at Aura. If you're trying to get healthier, please check them out by clicking the link in the description down below or going to ora.organic. Their co-founder, Will, is such a huge supporter of the channel. They have plant-based nutritional products, all of them, whether it's the probiotic I take every day for digestion, or their pre-workout supplements, or proteins for after workouts, or omega-3 oils. If you're taking a fish oil, take the omega-3 oil from Aura. They have sleep pills, immunity pills, and more. Free shipping on orders right now of $65 or more. Great company, great people. Will's a Padres fan, offices in Liberty Station. If you support the channel, if you want to get healthier, make sure to check them out, whatever it is, omega-3, probiotics, and more at ora.organic.
Yeah, they have everything you need to live that healthy lifestyle that you've been craving out there. The probiotics, great for gut health. Trust me, gut health is very important. All right. If you're big into working out, they have everything you need for good workouts with the protein powder for after and the pre-workouts before you go and work out. So go there right now, www.ora.organic, pick up some supplements, and you'll be happy with them and you'll thank us later.
You will. By the way, quick shameless plug here for our wrap-up show merch. If you want the hat I'm wearing, I mean, who doesn't, Jim? It is available by clicking the link in the description down below. We have wrap-up show merchandise. We have the hat I'm wearing. We have John and Jim merchandise in both the current brown and gold look, also in that 1998 Padres look as well. So if you want some merch to watch the Padres, support the channel, go to Petco Park. We have it for you. It is available. Click that link in the description down below. Pick up the hat I'm wearing right now on the wrap-up show. Murray, thank you.
Thanks, Murray.
He says our bloops were falling all game, but X's didn't, so let's blame X. He made a really good play in shallow right field. But Murray, I mean, you really want to give Xander Bogaerts, of all players, the benefit of the doubt? Like this one play defined his season. He could have come through in that spot, and you would still say the same thing about Xander Bogaerts. He needs to do more. The difference in a good season and a bad season for Xander Bogaerts right now is not one moment. He needs to consistently come through for games on end for me to change my tune on where he is.
Oh, yeah. He's got 2 home runs in the season, 11 RBIs. It's the same thing.
So he's on pace for 8 homers and 40 RBIs. I mean, come on.
It's the same thing that happened last year. Middle of the lineup, hitting 5th. I don't think he ever hit 6th, but hitting 5th, right? and he just could never come through. I mean, I think he started September with like around 40 RBIs. And to his credit, he had a massive September, but it meant like virtually nothing in the grand scheme of things.
I mean, he's capable. Like April and September last year, he was legitimately good.
Very good.
But like, where are we waiting on that? Is it gonna happen when the season like is on the line? Can we see it in June and July?
Like if Xander continues at this pace, which would be just god awful, but say they're like 2 games out from a wild card spot in middle of August, and then he turns it on and he has the same August and September like he did last year, and he helps lead the Padres in the postseason, then you can forgive like the first 4 months of the year because he came up in the big moments and he came up when the team needed him the most. You know, like the overall stats then don't mean anything because you made the postseason. But if you are like 7 games out with 20 to play and you continue to dip and then Xander starts turning it on and you miss out by 2 games, like, does that mean anything? Or is it just he had a good September and they still missed the postseason?
They got to make the postseason.
Got to make the postseason.
Like he's got to lift them towards the postseason, which is kind of I'm not saying it's hard to envision. I just need to see it. Like it's not that it's hard to envision. I just need to envision it. It needs to happen, and it needs to happen in 2024. I'm not holding my breath that this team misses out in 23 and 24, and all of a sudden Xander Bogaerts leads them to the promised land in 2025. Like it's got to happen now.
Yeah, he's not going to like all of a sudden just like get better. Like this is who he is potentially. Yeah, he's getting older and he might have a bum wrist and no pop, no power, nothing. It's scary.
JD's third. What does this mean? Mr. Magoo gave X a participation trophy. All good.
Okay. What?
All right.
Thanks for the super.
Appreciate you. All right. Join us tomorrow. John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. We're on YouTube. Search for John and Jim 760. We will recap the series. The game's at 11 tomorrow morning, or right after 11 a.m. We're on the air at 3. The game will be final. And we'll talk about it from 3 to 6. You'll hear from Mike Schulte, if you will, on game 3. You win tomorrow, all is good. 4-2 trip. You lose tomorrow, the world keeps spinning. You're 2 games under 500. It's a 3-3 trip. Feels important. I mean, winning a series in Chicago, getting back to 500 behind Dylan Cease, a win day for Dylan Cease and the Padres. So it does feel important. And we'll see if they can win that series and cap off a 4-2 road trip. And if they do that, it's hard to complain about a 4-2 trip, to be honest.
Real quick, to answer your question, Audrey, no.
What's the question?
She asked any chance when they're up 2-1 to give Suarez the ball in the 8th. And we've talked about this, and the answer is unequivocally 0% chance no. Maybe 4 outs, but you're not pushing it really.
2 things, Audrey, and thank you. Because Audrey maybe contributed with a couple of super chats last night. Thank you, Audrey, for hanging out. Seriously.
Thank you.
2 things I would say. He went 5 outs yesterday. We talked about it, like you said. So he's not getting multiple innings tonight. Right. I think we all agree. I mean, it would have been a 1 in 1,000 to go back-to-back multiple innings, in my opinion, at this point in the season. And Azocar has been very good this year, and Merrill, when he sits, is going to sit against really good left-handed pitching. It made sense to sit Merrill tonight. And Azocar had, what, 2 hits?
Yeah, he did really well.
So I can't fault that either. They punted on nothing. Arise sat. He's better against righties than lefties. Merrill sat. He's better against righties than lefties. Everything worked out. Despite no matter what we all think about everything, they led 2-1 in the 8th inning.
Arise had that pinch hit, and then Profar had that 2-run home run.
Huge.
Yeah.
So they were in position. They just didn't win the game. And thank you, Audrey, for hanging out. All right. Subscribe here on Content for Padres fans. Smash the like button. Follow us on X at John Schaefer, at Jim Russell SD. Thank you for the super thanks if you're here on replay. Support our partners. Mark Nimitz at Farmers Insurance, our title sponsor. You have an insurance need, let him help you. He can save you $750 or more. Click the link in the description down below. Aura, if you want to get healthier, they have plant-based nutritional products for you by clicking the link in the description down below. Play along with us at Underdog Fantasy, underdogfantasy.com, or scan the QR code on the screen. Get a 100% deposit match up to $100. That's right, a 100% deposit match up to $100 by using promo code PODSWRAP. That's PADSWRAP, 100% deposit match. Use promo code PODSWRAP. James, thank you. Before we get out of here, he says, stupid move pulling Profar for Merrill. Profar could have had another late inning clutch hit. Honestly, I'm fine with it. I think people like to react to everything when things don't go perfectly.
Right.
They led because of Profar, and they didn't win the game. They didn't not win the game because Profar came out of the game for Merrill.
Right. And when this team has a lead late in the game, they're making moves for the best defensive alignment they possibly could have, and that does not include Jurickson Profar in the outfield.
Right. And yeah, and Merrill, those are big spots for him too. He's going to have to pinch hit occasionally. He's going to have to come into games that he doesn't start against left-handed pitching and contribute. But your point's fair, James, because when you lose, you magnify everything. But I don't think that was the difference in winning and losing tonight. It could have been. I'll never know. But I don't think it was the difference between winning and losing. All right. Join us tomorrow, 3 p.m., San Diego Sports 760 for John and Jim. For Jim, I'm John. Padres lose tonight to Chicago in walk-off fashion 3-2. This has been the wrap-up show.
Peace out. Bye.